The vast expanse of space stretched endlessly before Captain Aria Chen as she stood on the bridge of the ESS Horizon, Earth's most advanced deep space exploration vessel. The ship's sleek design and state-of-the-art technology represented humanity's greatest achievement in space travel, a testament to their relentless drive to push beyond known boundaries. Aria's dark eyes scanned the holographic displays surrounding her, each one offering a wealth of information about the uncharted sector they had entered. It was their mission to seek out new habitable worlds, to expand humanity's reach among the stars. But in the 5 years since leaving Earth, they had found little more than barren rocks and hostile environments. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Marcus Reeves from his station, his voice tinged with excitement. "I'm picking up an anomalous energy signature. It's unlike anything we've encountered before." Aria's heart raced as she moved to Marcus's side, studying the readouts. "Origin. Approximately 2 light-years from our current position," Marcus replied, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "It's moving, Captain, and fast." The bridge crew held their breath as Aria considered their options. First contact protocol had been drilled into them countless times, but the reality of the situation made her pause. This could be the moment humanity had been waiting for, proof that they were not alone in the universe. "Plot an intercept course," Aria commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the decision. "All hands to alert status. Let's see what's out there." As the horizon adjusted its trajectory, tensions on the bridge rose. Hours passed like days as they approached the source of the energy signature. Finally, as they entered visual range, the main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that left the entire crew speechless. A massive vessel, easily 3 times the size of the horizon, glided through space with an otherworldly grace. Its hull shimmered with an iridescent quality, seeming to shift and change as they watched. Intricate patterns adorned its surface, pulsing with energy that defied human understanding. "My God," whispered Dr. Elena Kovacs, the ship's scanobiologist, "it's beautiful." Aria nodded in agreement, but kept her focus on the task at hand. "Open a channel, all frequencies. Let's try to make contact." For several tense minutes, they broadcast a series of mathematical sequences and simple pictographs, universal languages they hoped would transcend the barriers between species. The response, when it came, was not what anyone had expected. A beam of shimmering light enveloped the horizon, and suddenly, the bridge was filled with a cacophony of sounds and images. The crew clutched their heads, overwhelmed by the sensory assault. Aria gritted her teeth, fighting to maintain her composure as alien thoughts and emotions flooded her mind. As quickly as it began, the experience ended. The crew blinked, disoriented, as they tried to process what had just happened. "Is everyone all right?" Aria called out, her own head still spinning. Murmurs of affirmation echoed across the bridge, but the atmosphere had changed. There was a shared sense of awe and trepidation. They had just experienced direct alien communication, a meeting of minds across the vast gulf of space. "Captain," Elena said, her voice filled with wonder. I think I understood some of it. They call themselves the Zarquin. They're explorers, like us." Aria nodded, pieces of the alien transmission still swirling in her mind. "Yes, I got that too. But there was something else, a sense of urgency, of danger." Before they could discuss further, the alien ship began to move. With a grace that belied its enormous size, it positioned itself alongside the horizon. A section of its hull seemed to ripple and then vanish, revealing an opening, an invitation. "They want us to dock," Marcus said, voicing what they all understood instinctively. Aria took a deep breath, weighing the risks against the potential for discovery. This was why they had come so far from home, to make contact, to learn. But the nagging sense of danger from the alien transmission gave her pause. "Prepare a boarding party," she decided. "I'll lead it myself. Dr. Kovacs, you're with me. Lieutenant Reeves, you have the bridge. If anything goes wrong, your priority is the safety of the ship and crew." "Understood." Marcus nodded solemnly, understanding the weight of the responsibility being placed on him. As Arya and her team made their way to the airlock, suited up and armed with both weapons and scientific equipment, the enormity of what they were about to do settled over them. They were about to become the first humans to set foot on an alien vessel, to meet beings from another world face to face. The docking procedure was seamless, the Zarquin technology adapting to the Horizon's systems with ease. As the airlock cycled and the doors slid open, Arya led her team into the unknown. The interior of the Zarquin ship was a marvel of organic architecture. Walls pulsed with bioluminescent light, and corridors seemed to shift and reform as they walked. The air was breathable, though tinged with an alien scent that tickled their noses. They hadn't gone far when they encountered their hosts. The Zarquin were tall, willowy beings with iridescent skin that shimmered like their ship's hull. Multiple limbs moved with fluid grace, and their large, multifaceted eyes regarded the humans with unmistakable intelligence and curiosity. One of the aliens stepped forward, its body language conveying what Arya interpreted as a greeting. She removed her helmet, a gesture of trust, and spoke. "I am Captain Arya Chen of the Earth ship Horizon. We come in peace and friendship." The Zarquin's response came not in words, but in another burst of sensory information. This time, prepared for the experience, Arya and her team were able to process it more easily. Images of distant worlds, star maps, and complex mathematical equations flooded their minds. But underlying it all was a sense of urgency of impending doom. As the exchange continued, the humans began to understand the dire situation that had brought their two species together. The Zarquin were fleeing, their homeworld destroyed by an implacable enemy that consumed entire planets. This enemy, which the humans' minds translated as the Devourers, was a threat to all life in the galaxy. The Zarquin had been searching for allies, for any species with the technology and will to stand against this cosmic horror. As the full scope of the threat became clear, Arya felt a chill run down her spine. Humanity had fought itself alone in the universe, but now they found themselves thrust onto a galactic stage, facing an enemy that threatened not just Earth, but all of known space. The Zarquin's next transmission carried a mix of hope and desperation. They believed that humans, with their unique adaptability and ingenuity, might hold the key to defeating the Devourers. But to do so would require an alliance unlike any in human history, a joining of two vastly different species against a common foe. Arya looked at her team, seeing the same mix of fear and determination in their eyes that she felt herself. They had come seeking new worlds, new life. Instead, they had found a war for the very survival of all worlds, all life. As she prepared to respond to the Zarquin, to take the first step towards an interstellar alliance, Arya knew that the fate of humanity, indeed, the fate of the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. The greatest challenge in human history lay before them, and failure was not an option. The journey that had brought them to the stars had been just the beginning. Now, the real test of humanity's strength, ingenuity, and determination was about to begin. The weeks following first contact with the Zarquin were a whirlwind of activity aboard the ESS Horizon. Captain Arya Chen found herself at the center of a storm, coordinating efforts to merge human and alien technologies while simultaneously preparing her crew for the monumental task that lay ahead. The Horizon's hangar bay had been transformed into a hub of interspecies cooperation. Human engineers worked alongside their Zarquin counterparts, their initial awkwardness giving way to a grudging respect as they tackled seemingly impossible problems together. Dr. Elena Kovacs stood before a holographic display, her brow furrowed in concentration as she studied the latest data on the Devourers. The more they learned about this cosmic threat, the more terrifying it became. Entire solar systems reduced to barren husks, stripped of all resources and life. The Devourers were not just an enemy, they were a force of nature, implacable and seemingly unstoppable. "It doesn't make sense," Elena muttered, more to herself than to Zilix, her Zarquin research partner. "How can any entity consume matter on this scale? It defies the laws of physics as we understand them. Zulix's multifaceted eyes shifted, a gesture Elena had come to recognize as their equivalent of a frustrated sigh. The alien's response came not in words, but in a burst of imagery and emotion, their preferred method of communication. Elena's mind was flooded with complex equations and conceptual models that pushed the boundaries of her understanding. "You're saying they exist partially outside our dimension?" Elena asked, struggling to put the alien concepts into human terms. "That's how they're able to process and store so much energy and matter." Zulix's affirmative response was tinged with a sense of grim satisfaction. They were making progress, slowly bridging the gap between their vastly different scientific paradigms. Across the hangar, Lieutenant Marcus Reeves was engaged in his own form of interspecies exchange. He stood before a group of human and Zarquin pilots, using a mix of holographic simulations and the Zarquin's unique form of telepathic communication, developed new combat strategies. "The key is unpredictability," Marcus explained, his words accompanied by vivid mental images of starships performing impossible maneuvers. "The Devourers have never encountered human tactics before. If we can combine our unconventional thinking with Zarquin technology, we might just have a chance." The Zarquin pilot's response was a mixture of skepticism and intrigue. The humans' propensity for illogical, often reckless strategies both confused and fascinated them. But as Marcus guided them through simulation after simulation, they began to see the potential in this chaotic approach to space combat. Captain Chen watched these exchanges with a mix of pride and apprehension. The progress they were making was remarkable, but would it be enough? The fate of not just humanity, but countless alien civilizations rested on their shoulders. Her musings were interrupted by a gentle mental nudge, the Zarquin equivalent of a tap on the shoulder. She turned to find Syra, the Zarquin ship's leader, waiting patiently. Without a word, Arya followed Axira to a quiet corner of the hangar. The alien's communication was softer this time, more personal. Arya's mind filled with images of distant worlds, of civilizations rising and falling, of the relentless advance of the Devourers across the galaxy. But underlying it all was a sense of hope that had been rekindled by humanity's arrival. "You're placing a lot of faith in us," Arya said softly. "We're not warriors, not really. We're explorers, scientists. We've never faced a threat like this before." Axtara's response was immediate and forceful. Arya saw flashes of human history, of insurmountable odds overcome, of great leaps in science and technology, of a species that refused to accept defeat. The Zarquin had been observing humanity for longer than Arya had realized, and they had seen something in humans that they believed could turn the tide against the Devourers. Arya felt the weight of responsibility settle even more heavily on her shoulders. "We won't let you down," she promised, her voice firm with resolve. As if in response to her words, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Marcus's voice came over the intercom, tight with tension. "Captain to the bridge. We're picking up anomalous readings. It's them, the Devourers. They found us." The hangar erupted into controlled chaos as humans and Zarquin rushed to battle stations. Arya sprinted towards the bridge, her mind racing. They weren't ready, not yet. But ready or not, the enemy was here. As Arya burst onto the bridge, the main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that sent chills down her spine. A massive, shadowy form loomed in the darkness of space, its edges seeming to blur and shift, as if it wasn't fully present in their reality. Tendrils of dark energy reached out from its amorphous body, grasping at the very fabric of space-time. "Report," Arya barked, sliding into the captain's chair. Marcus's hands flew over his console as he spoke. "Single Devourer entity, but it's bigger than anything the Zarquin have encountered before. It's not attacking yet, just watching." Elena's voice came over the comm, breathless with a mix of fear and scientific excitement. "Captain, the readings we're getting are off the charts. It's like it's feeding on the very energy of space around it. If we don't stop it, it could destabilize its entire sector." Aria's mind raced, weighing their options. They weren't fully prepared for confrontation, but they couldn't run, not with so much at stake. Her eyes met Sarah's, and in that moment a plan began to form. Marcus, prep the new hybrid weapons. Elena, I need everything you've got on their dimensional shifting abilities. Sarah, can your ship generate a gravity well strong enough to disrupt its feeding process? The bridge erupted into action as human and Zarquin crews worked in perfect synchronization. The plan was risky, borderline insane by any rational standard, but if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was thinking outside the box. As the Horizon and the Zarquin vessel moved into position, Aria felt a moment of clarity. This was why humanity had reached for the stars, not just to explore, but to face challenges beyond their imagination, to push the boundaries of what was possible. All hands, brace for combat, Aria announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Let's show these cosmic horrors what happens when they mess with the combined might of humanity and the Zarquin. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations to come. The Horizon darted and weaved through space, its human pilots executing maneuvers that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The Zarquin vessel moved in perfect harmony, its advanced technology complementing the humans' unconventional tactics. Hybrid weapons, born from the merger of human ingenuity and Zarquin science, lanced out at the Devourer. Each hit seemed to disrupt the creature's connection to our dimension, forcing it to fully manifest in normal space-time. But the Devourer was far from helpless. It lashed out with tendrils of dark energy, each strike capable of tearing a lesser ship in half. The Horizon shuddered under the assault, its shields straining to the breaking point. Shields at 30%, Marcus called out, his voice tight with tension. We can't take much more of this. Aria Criteria gritted her teeth, her mind racing for a solution. The Devourer's attacks were growing stronger, more precise. It was learning, adapting to their tactics with frightening speed. Captain, Elena's voice crackled over the comm. I think I found something. The Devourer's energy signature, it's not constant. There are fluctuations, microsecond gaps when it's most vulnerable. Can we exploit that? Aria asked, her eyes never leaving the main view screen where the cosmic horror writhed and pulsed. Maybe, Elena replied, her voice tight with concentration. But we'd need to hit it with everything we've got at exactly the right moment. And we have to get close, dangerously close. Aria exchanged a glance with Thyra. The Zarquin leader's multifaceted eyes shimmered with understanding. They were of one mind. This was their best chance, perhaps their only chance. Marcus, plot us a course straight for that thing's heart, Aria commanded. Xera, have your ship focus all power on the gravity well. We're going to give this monster indigestion it'll never forget. As the Horizon and the Zarquin vessel moved into position, the crew worked feverishly to implement their desperate plan. Human engineers and Zarquin scientists merged their technologies in ways never before attempted, pushing both ships to their absolute limits. All hands, brace for impact, Aria announced, her voice steady despite the fear that gripped her heart. No matter what happens, remember, we're making history today. For Earth, for the Zarquin, for every species that calls this galaxy home. The next few minutes were a blur of motion and light. The Horizon dove straight towards the Devourer, its hull groaning under the strain. Tendrils of dark energy lashed out, each impact shaking the ship to its core, but they pressed on, driven by a determination that transcended species. At the last possible moment, when it seemed certain they would be consumed, Aria gave the command. Now. A beam of pure energy, born from the combined technologies of two vastly different civilizations, lanced out from the Horizon. At the same instant, the Zarquin ship unleashed its gravity well, distorting space-time around the Devourer. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, with a silent scream that resonated through the minds of every being present, the Devourer began to implode. Its amorphous body collapsed in on itself, unable to maintain its presence in our dimension. The shockwave from its destruction sent both ships tumbling through space. Warning klaxons blared as systems failed across the board. For several tense minutes, it seemed as though they had won the battle only to be destroyed in the aftermath. But slowly, improbably, both the Horizon and the Zarquin vessels stabilized. As emergency power came online and the main view screen flickered back to life, a cheer went up from the exhausted crew. Where the Devourer had been, there was now only empty space and hope for a brighter future. In the days that followed, as both ships underwent repairs, the true magnitude of their victory became clear. The destruction of this Devourer had sent ripples through space-time, disrupting the entire species' ability to feed. Reports came in from across the galaxy of Devourers retreating, their seemingly unstoppable advance halted. On Horizon's observation deck, Aria stood with Faxira, gazing out at the stars. The view was different now, filled not just with possibility, but with a sense of shared purpose. "We did it," Aria said softly, her words accompanied by a burst of emotion that the Zarquin could understand. "We really did it." Axura's response was a complex tapestry of images and feelings, gratitude, respect, and a deep sense of kinship that transcended their physical differences. But underlying it all was a question, a curiosity about what would come next. Aria smiled, understanding the unspoken query. "This is just the beginning," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We've proven what we can accomplish together. Now we have a galaxy to rebuild, to explore." As if in response to her words, a communication came through from Earth. The transmission was garbled by distance, but the message was clear. Humanity was ready to take its place on the galactic stage. Aria turned to her alien counterpart, extending her hand in a very human gesture of partnership. After a moment's hesitation, Kyra reached out with one of their many limbs, grasping Aria's hand. In that moment, as human and Zarquin stood together looking out at the vast expanse of space, the future seemed limitless. They had faced the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known and emerged victorious. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. As the Horizon prepared for its long journey home, carrying with it the promise of a new era of interstellar cooperation, Aria couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had not only survived its trial by fire, but had proven itself worthy of the stars. The echoes of their victory would resonate through the cosmos for eons to come, a testament to the indomitable spirit of not just humanity, but of all sentient life. In the face of cosmic horror, they had found not just allies, but friends, and together there was nothing they couldn't achieve. As the engines hummed to life and the stars beckoned, Aria gave the command that would usher in a new chapter in galactic history. "Let's go home." The Horizon, battle-scared but unbowed, turned towards Earth, its journey now a triumphant return rather than a solitary exploration. And as they traveled, the crew of the Horizon knew that they carried with them not just tales of victory, but the seeds of a future brighter than any they had dared to imagine. In the vast tapestry of the cosmos, humanity had woven its thread, forever changing the pattern of galactic civilization. The age of isolation was over. The era of unity had begun. And somewhere in the great expanse of space, the echoes of their triumph continued to resonate, a beacon of hope for all who would reach for the stars.